Welcome to the Healthy Illness Podcast. I am your host, Kelly Marie, and the Healthy Illness Podcast is all about helping you build healthier relationships while living with mental health conditions. I am your host, Kelly Marie, and this episode is all about the steps that I have taken since the last episode. So before we get deep into that part of life, I want to just pause and say thank you to three incredible women. Two have birthdays in this last week or so. So thank you, Wanda, for always listening and supporting. Donna, thank you for always listening and supporting. You both are incredible human beings, and thank you for pouring into me recently, and the conversations we have had have been so super beneficial just in my day-to-day life. So thank you, Hopi. You are the best. Wanda and Donna Brown from So Sassy, happy birthday to you both. I hope that you were able to find some joy this year and in your birthdays. So today's podcast episode is, I would say, kind of like part two to the I gained 40 pounds on Ozempic episode, and head back to that last episode if you didn't catch that yet. But our last episode, I talked about the journey to losing and realizing that I gained weight, but I really didn't talk about the steps that I've taken since then, or like my action plan phase of this journey. So I wanted to give that to you, and also let you know about Mindfulness for All. A introduction to mindfulness is a hour and a half free, yes, free online mindfulness education workshop hosted by my very own self. It's going to be held on Monday, January 19th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. You can sign up. You have to sign up in order to be able to get the link. Sign up at frontseatlife.com/events, or just head over to the Front Seat Life website, frontseatlife.com, and the events will be right there up in your upper left-hand side. So we met for the first time last month, and that was our intro to mindfulness class. And there was more requests and interest in having another one. So we're going to have our second Mindfulness for All, Introduction to Mindfulness workshop on January 19th from 11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Register over at frontseatlife.com. So in our last episode, all about my almost 40 pounds, right, that I picked up on Ozempic, was kind of the weight loss and gain journey since having my laminectomy surgery back in 2023. So in those 2 years, like in the first 6 months, really, I was up walking again and moving around, and had the diagnosis of, being diabetic. I had lost in that first year about 63 pounds. And in the last 2 years, I have gained 30 of those pounds back. A little nerve-wracking, 36 to be exact. But here I am. Well, so my diabetes is in check, so that's a plus, right? So, but with the, weight gain came from me not managing my feelings well, or managing them through eating. While it seems like a bad thing, yes, the weight gain, it was heavy on me personally, physically, right? Gaining those pounds back. But there is an incredible benefit to having gone through this kind of part of my journey, because I've always in my mind thought of myself as an emotional eater, but really couldn't point to a time in my life that I gained a lot of weight and ate and lost a lot of weight at any one point in time. I've always consistently been about the same weight, except for pregnancy and childbirth. And so I didn't have anything really pointing to the negative effects of being an emotional eater because I just didn't see the negative piece of it in my life. And so because I lost the weight and then gained the weight back, it forced me to reckon with the fact that I am an emotional eater. And so in these last couple of weeks, I have done four things. So three things initially, and I had to add another because of some negative effects that were happening with my body. So in order to kind of get back on the right path, I knew that I needed to start drinking my water. And it was a matter of twofold. So I had to get to this point, and these points, once I realized, yes, I'm an emotional eater and I need like a hardcore therapist to just really like hold no punches and help me walk through this thing. Outside of that, I know that there's some things I need to do that will help me work through the weight loss or weight gain and also putting my mind in a better place and space. So developing that list of things that I needed to do is based on really getting my mind in a better place, which would, by process of life working, get my body into a better place. So I didn't enter this to lose weight. I didn't enter this to, prove that I could lose weight and keep it off. But I did it from a place of, I know what I need to do in order to feed my body to help me be healthy, right? That will then lead to weight loss. And so in order to do that, I knew that I needed to get some sleep and make sure that the sleep that I was getting was good sleep. We've covered sleep and the importance of sleep on your mental health in a couple of episodes here on the podcast. But I knew that I needed to make sure that I had a healthy sleep routine. So I wanted to make sure that I was getting into bed on time, waking up on time, and using my sleep apnea machine. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. I think I medically think I am better and probably don't need it. That's me saying that again, not actually true, but I know that that is prescribed to me and that it helps with my sleep. So I had started doing that at the beginning of December, making sure that, again, I'm giving my body the sleep it needs in order to help it be healthier. The other thing that I started doing was drinking water. So the first thing I did, literally the first thing I did was start working on my sleep. The second thing I did was I started drinking water. One of my friends at work, says, Kelly, water your body like you water your plants. Well, what she means is I pay attention to how much water I give the plants. I don't really water them that much. So I am actually doing what I do for my plants to my body. But anyways, water your body like you water your plants, paying attention to how much water you're getting. So I needed to start paying attention to and make sure I was drinking enough water. I am chronically in, I would say, like a state of dehydration because I don't drink a lot. I don't get a lot of thirst cues either. So I know that dehydration is something that is likely playing a part in how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, and what will help my body heal. And so I increased my water. I didn't, put a goal on it by ounces. Trainers will say you should drink twice as many ounces of water as your body weight is. Wait, no, the opposite. Drink half your weight in water. Yes, in ounces. Because I'm like, that would be a lot of water I would have to drink if I had to drink twice my weight in ounces. So I did not have that kind of goal in mind. My goal was increase my water. Wake up, make sure you're drinking water. If you think about drinking water, drink water. When you take your medicine, draw out how much it takes, like for each pill. Drink lots of water with each pill instead of just slamming them all back with, half a glass. Make sure when I'm drinking coffee that I'm also drinking water. And just to be mindful, really be mindful about my water intake. I inadvertently am tracking that through how many times I'm going to the bathroom, right? So I, old school, a couple months ago, old school, could tell you, how many times I went to the bathroom. I knew that if I was hydrated enough and for the most part, I was not hydrated enough. I was not going to the bathroom enough at work at all. And so I knew that would also help me get some steps in. Little side, note on the additional water drinking, additional bathroom runs, which are additional steps. So I'm able to kind of tell how much water I'm drinking by how much I'm going to the bathroom. And then the third thing that I did, and this was towards the end of the year, but still in the month of December, was I began eating cleaner. For the most part, only eating fresh produce. I did not give up my coffee. Like I have there's nothing wrong with coffee, but coffee with my creamer. So I did not give up my coffee with my creamer. That was the only bit of processed food that I was taking in. Everything else was water and fresh fruit and fresh veggies. I did that for about 2 weeks, and then a week and a half actually before I added fish to my food intake. All fish was prepared without additional oils. So still, seasonings, yes, but no additional oils in the cooking. Did that for about 2.5 weeks, and then began adding some more processed foods by way of pasta, light pasta, which brings us to today. And so wanting to do what was right for my body, somewhere in that water drinking and food eating phase, like probably about a week and a half in, my body started to hurt a lot. I was getting really severe muscle cramps and my feet and in my hands. The cramping in my left foot was going up into my calf. My right hand cramped like all the way closed. My left hand cramped while I was twisting my hair, and my hand was like stuck in my hair. I was not well. And my first thought was, I'm eating so well, right? Like I should be feeling better. I was losing weight. And, my body should be in a fantastic place, feeling absolutely lovely. And it wasn't. And so it had gotten so bad, I had to call the doctor. But here's what I knew before I called the doctor. Well, I knew when I called the doctor, they were going to ask me if I'm taking my medication the way I'm supposed to, how I've been feeling. They want to know what's happening before they make a medical decision about your life. So I knew that I needed to be taking my medication regularly. And one of them I wasn't. And sometimes at night I would forget to take like my nighttime meds. And so before I called the doctor, I made sure that I started taking my meds as directed. Because here's the thing, they can't give me, their response would have been, we'll take your medication as prescribed and call us in a couple of days, right? So instead of doing that, I just did what I needed to do and called as soon as I had enough water medication in my system for me to be able to ensure that I was doing my part in my healthcare journey. So because the issues are neurological, and I'm talking to a neurologist and clinical team, I want to make sure that the time we spend is time well spent. And if there's something I could be doing outside of my appointment time or like before I call in with an issue, I want to do that first so that when we're on the phone, we're making the best use of that time. And so sure enough, the clinical staff person I spoke to asked me about the medication, how I was feeling. I was letting them know, again, taking my medication as prescribed, was still having the issues, make sure I was hydrated because dehydration can show up in muscle cramp. So wanted to provide them with as much understanding about what was happening so that whatever they provided as like our suggested next step actually made sense for what was happening in my life. If I had not been taking my medication and said that I was, what if the issue was I just needed to take my medication regularly? So now they're prescribing something else or upping the medication or decreasing whatever based upon a lie. Like I'm lying if I say I took the medication and I hadn't, and they're basing medical advice off of that lie that I told instead of just keeping it real. But I wanted to make sure that I was doing my part because that would have been the recommendation. Do your part. I can tell you, well, and so the end result was they did put me on a different medication, and I was able to see a response like within a couple hours. I wasn't all the way better, but after a couple days, my body was functioning in a much, much, much more controlled and responsive way. Like not just not having muscle spasms, but there was, okay, that lightness I thought I would have had from eating vegetables and drinking all this water. Like I started to feel that. So having called the doc, gotten new meds, everything is going well. I know that there are things I need to continue to do. Like this has not deterred me from my initial goal, having this new set of symptoms to kind of be mindful of has really helped me, again, pour into that soft girl era. We're still in the soft girl era. That kindness to self, the love to self, the kindness and softness we give other people, giving to self. So I'm still in my soft girl era. I plan on never leaving. And this is a part of that. Knowing that my body is still recovering, that we are still uncovering, some things, as far as like how my body is working, that is too a journey, and accepting that I do my part and allow the rest to be the rest, really pouring into doing my part. I'm drinking my water and minding my business, but drinking my water, taking my medication as I'm supposed to, still eating cleanish, added protein and some pasta. And I say some pasta, it was like chicken noodle soup, and I haven't had any other pasta. But still, shout out to Miss Nan. Miss Nan, thank you so much for the chicken noodle soup and always feeding me when you cook. And so making sure that I'm eating cleanish, managing my sleep, and I think that was it. This has been a wild recording, so let me give a huge shout out to the best podcast producer on the face of the planet, Jazzy T. Thank you for this episode. But big shout out to Jazzy T, who has had to manage a lot that you will never know how much she has done to get this episode on the air. And for that, I thank you tremendously. Until the next time, if you are looking for services, 211. You can dial 211 on your phone. You can go to 211 in your web browser. They have information, zip code, city, whatever, type of geographic area you're looking for. And if you need someone to talk to, right, like you are suicidal or you are having thoughts of taking your life, dial 988. Those folks are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to answer your call. I have used 988 on more than one occasion, and I am still here. So if you are in crisis, please give them a call or head to your nearest emergency room. Until the next time, I got a couple episodes on mindfulness coming up, and a report out and next steps by way of programming after our Mindfulness for All event on January 19th. So more by way of mindfulness workshops here on the podcast and on our website, frontseatlife.com. Until the next time, be the light.